I'm a huge fan of selling. Selling is one of my favorite activities to do in the world because I truly believe that if you have an offer that is incredible and is worth more than what you're asking for it, then the customer or the client is getting the better end of the deal. Do you agree with that? Because I think that's a fundamental understanding what we have here. I'm not selling so much as people are buying. That's what I like to say. I don't sell. People just like to buy because they typically only buy things where they feel they're getting more in value than they're exchanging in money and time in order to get that. So what can you sell on a webinar? That's a great question. Information is great to sell on a webinar. So if you have digital training programs, memberships, continuity programs that are primarily around education, how to, that kind of stuff, a webinar is hand in glove because a webinar is primarily information, and then you sell information. So the continuity there is really powerful. The parity makes a lot of sense. But I will tell you, we really made our first fortunes on webinar selling software. Because I don't know about you, but Raul and I were just talking about this before this call, this webinar here today. Raul was on another webinar, and he was explaining to people how to use the software. And then he says to me, because after I explained it, they still asked, wait a minute, so how do I do that again? And that's the power of webinars, is we can very clearly show somebody how to use software or very clearly put the use cases in front of them of, boy, if you could do this, imagine what life would be like. And man, wouldn't it be great if you could accomplish blank? Well, guess what? I have software that allows you to do that. Or this is just a better way of using this software. So if I can show you how to use my software and you can have a firm understanding of that before you have to pay me to use the software, then you will pay me for that software and be happy that you did. We just recently did a webinar selling a $10,000 ticket item that was software based. And, you know, we have sold over $3.29 million on that one specific webinar. And we don't even have to send people to the phone rooms. We don't have to send them to talk to a salesperson. We can literally take them through a 1.5-hour webinar, and at the end, have clients pay us $10,000 for that software, because when it's done, they see how having that software in their organization is worth far more to them than $10,000. But I don't think there's any other method that I can use besides webinars that can sell software like that. Services. This is another incredibly powerful thing that you can utilize. We have a massive services company that we run at Rapid Crushes Inc., where we're the #1 webinar creation and fulfillment company in the world, creating and using the methodology that I'm teaching you today to put this in place for clients. And services are fantastic on webinars. They typically aren't sold straight up. Typically, services are sold with, at the end of the webinar, you say, if you're interested in exploring this further, go here and set up an appointment, and we'll get on the phone together. So it's a two-step process. So services using a two-step process on webinars, that works unbelievably well. My favorite is events, because all webinars are events. And this is one of the things that makes webinars more effective than other types of sales vehicles that you can use online. A webinar is an event that occurs in a unique time and space. So think about this. You and I, on this call today, are sharing an experience in this universe that will never be replicated or duplicated ever again. Because even if I do this training in the future, I will never do it the exact same way. And ever heard the saying, you never step into the same river twice? Because you've changed, and so is the river. And so the event is really powerful. So if you're selling live events or virtual events, using a webinar, again, the parity and continuity of that works incredibly well. So this is what you can sell. So a lot of people, they lose the race before they even run it, because they say, well, webinars don't apply to me. And I would argue that webinars apply to any business who has something worthwhile sharing and uses the internet to try to get it out there.